looks like a Deathblade deck. Pretty standard. Just Dark Confidant, Deathray Shaman, Stoneforge Mystic. He's on your left.
Yeah, on your right, Stephen Hink. Stephen Nosy Hink has a big nose. I'm sorry, that's what it says. That's what he wrote down. So, you know, figured. But Stephen actually, yesterday, I thought this was kind of amusing. Before, we're not going to slow roll too much there. You can see he's on Rug Delver, old Legacy Classic. But he came up to me yesterday and says, "Hey, you want to hear a good Notion Thief story?" I'm like, "Sure." He goes, "Someone cast Time Spiral." And I love that the story was literally 4 words.
Yeah.
Just someone cast Time Spiral. But you know, you're gonna have Notion Thief stories. Just as long as it's a card that you see only popping up here and there. Obviously, we know Lauren Nolan has a Notion Thief story that most people are already well aware of.
Yeah, it happened right here on SCG Live.
It certainly did.
So if you recognize Stephen Hink's name, it's because he won a Standard Open in Minneapolis.
He did. He also he came in 8th in Legacy in Kansas City.
So he's got a couple open top 8s under his name.
5th through 8th as he has listed here.
Maybe like all of them at the same time?
Yeah, I mean that's really,
That's
I think it may be more impressive than coming in first and actually coming in 5th through 8th. I'd like to see his deck lists from that event.
Yeah, did he play all 4?
For the same list or 4 different ones?
So we're underway. Kyle Donovan, classy Unglued Island.
I like it.
Stephen Hink matches with a Volcanic Island and a Delver of Secrets. It's like Brainstorm from Kyle. This is very likely to resolve. The Plains, that's a pretty powerful. Basics are very, very good against Rug Delver.
Yeah, Wasteland proof. I mean, that's their claim to fame in Legacy, really.
Yeah. So you can see Kyle Donovan cracking his fetch land, getting a basic swamp. I believe he drew an Inquisition of Kozilek off of his Brainstorm. So you can see that one firing off. And here's a good thing. Yes, you know the Rug Delver deck has Dazes, but a Daze is really, really bad for Stephen Hink. And I don't see it in his hand, but Kyle wants to tap out on these turns, especially for a relatively low impact card like Inquisition that's just going to trade 1 for 1.
There's that Inquisition from Kyle, and we're gonna take a look. Double Forked Bolt. That's I believe both of his Forked Bolts. Yeah, just 2 main deck Forked Bolts.
And is 1 copy of Sylvan Library. What he doesn't have is a second land. Generally, if I were Kyle, I would take the Sylvan Library, but I might be tempted to take the Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Because Stephen has 2 relatively low impact Forked Bolts, although they do have some application in killing Stoneforge Mystic or Deathray Shaman.
Yeah, his entire hand is low cost.
Well, his entire deck. You actually see the most expensive mana-wise card in the Sylvan Library.
Right, so he goes with the Ponder. Going to
makes sense. So Wasteland to draw from Stephen. That does not flip Delver Secrets, nor does it help Stephen cast the Sylvan Library, which could be a huge card.
Yeah.
Fully expect Stephen to cast the Brainstorm, try and find different lands. Definitely wants to get rid of his Stifle now that Kyle knows about it. Whoa.
Alright, Kyle untaps, draws. He has Wasteland of his own.
Wow, that's okay. So, not going for it.
No.
Yeah.
Figures it's going to get stifled. So, Stoneforge Mystic.
And that should resolve. So Stephen has a couple options. He can stifle the trigger. He can Forked Bolt it on his turn. The problem with Forked Bolting it on his turn is that it would tie up his mana,
right,
leaving his Wasteland exposed. So he's gonna just stifle this. But I'm not sure if I like that much. Gives Force of Will off the top.
Yeah, so that's going to flip the Delver, draws the Force of Will. So
this is the legacy style of mana leaking.
Yeah, we mentioned that Stephan drew a Wasteland last turn, but he chose not to play it in order to wait for a target, I believe, on Kyle's side of the board to keep it hidden, because that's the card that one card that Kyle hadn't seen in his hand.
The problem is Kyle would just naturally do his basics. He's gonna get basics anyway.
Yeah, so they may not be a target, and now Kyle's going to go ahead and use his Wasteland to deal with Stephan's one color-producing mana source. What he wants to deal with soon, though, is that Delver, and I think he may... Well, he'll wait on that. He's going to go ahead and cast another Stoneforge Mystic. Now we can have Force removing Brainstorm, and that's what Stephan
almost
does.
Is priced into that, because he has another Forge Bolt, sure, but what he cannot let happen is if he misses a land drop, he can't cast that Forge Bolt.
Yeah.
So Kyle might have out of sequences plays a little bit. If he plays a Stoneforge first, Kyle might just Stephan might just let it resolve, thinking he can Forge Bolt it.
Yeah.
But then Wasteland takes away that option, and
unless Kyle was more concerned about days, you know, protecting himself from days. He played around it, but he didn't even, I guess, want to...
Snapcaster Mage comes on from Kyle. Probably going to target this Inquisition of Kozilek.
He didn't want to give Stephan an opportunity to pick his land back up when he was planning on wastelanding, I suppose.
Yeah.
So he decided instead to play as if Stephan had days and wasteland the land.
Okay, Spell Pierce taken from Stephan's hand. And Swords of Plowshares finally takes care of the Delver of Secrets. Good play from Kyle. There's no need to... you have your basic planes in play. That mana's safe. You're going to be able to get to use that mana.
Flooded Strand for Stephan is going to allow him to...
I do not like to see... This is the exact opposite of what Kyle did. Stephan is just impulse reaction, kill your guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do that. What's actually far more important for Stephan is wastelanding the Underground Sea, because that would happen.
Keep Jace from hitting the table. But,
right.
Yeah.
Wastelanding Kyle would have been much, much stronger than killing a Snapcaster Mage.
Snapcaster, yeah. So Stephan fetches up his Volcanic Island, deals with Snapcaster Mage with the Fork Bolt, allowing Kyle to resolve a Jace the Mind Sculptor.
Right.
And now the board is one Volcanic Island on Stephan's side, and 4 lands and a Jace the Mind Sculptor on Kyle's side.
Wasteland not as effective anymore.
Yeah, Wasteland comes down, deals with the 1 non-basic on Kyle's side of the board, but Jace is already on the table.
This is pretty much a game right there. Kyle gets an active Jace simply because Stephan wanted to Fork Bolt over Wasteland.
Yeah, so Kyle goes to activate Jace and Brainstorm again. Stephan says, you know what, forget it. I'll just go ahead and scoop him up.
Back him in.
Go to game 2.
I'm too far, but I have no permanence.
Right. It was not looking good. So on to the sideboards.
Sideboards in Legacy definitely vary quite a bit. But Stephan decides that he has Pyroblast potentially. Although the cards that beat him are not the blue cards very often. Sure, Jace is
a big deal, but
with type play, such as wastelanding your opponent's 4th land, or proper using your Stifles and Dazes and Spell Pierces, Jace is not a problem card in the matchup. So I would leave the Pyroblast at home. The big card I would bring in would be Sulfuric Vortex. Card does not have a very fast clock for the most part, and Sulfuric Vortex is exactly the type of card that can punish decks that cannot kill quickly. So you see, outside of that, a Corrosive Grip and/or an Ancient Grudge are potentially cards that can stop Kyle from getting
Executing the game plan, getting the equipment.
Yes, thank you.
Batter Skull and Umezawa's Jite, he has main deck as well.
Yes, it's Batter Skull and Umezawa's Jite. And that is it for equipment, but they're, they can be tutored up with Stoneforge Mystic, and they're both game-ending cards.
Yeah, on Kyle's side of the board, he's got Abrupt Decay, which just a one of, but it's uncounterable. Deals with pretty much every permanent in Stephan's deck.
Yeah, it deals. Well, there's only 12 creatures. There's 4 Delver Secrets, 4 Tarmogoyfs. Those are decay targets. Nimble Mongoose is not.
Right. I'm sorry. Every permanent but Mongoose.
No.
And he's got Sylvan Library as a target as well if that card actually sticks. And Abrupt Decay is nice. He's got 4 main deck Deathrite Shaman, which help keep the Mongooses, under control, as well as the Tarmogoyfs. So he doesn't need to worry as much about those. But
I don't see Kyle really changing much.
Yeah, I mean, the other card that it might be a stretch, but because of its uncounterability, is Supreme Verdict. I could see him, but it's a 4 mana answer. But again, uncounterable, can be removed to Force of Will if for some reason he decides to keep his forces in. He's got 3 main deck Force 1 in the board, so a lot of times that ends up getting cut in this sort of
usually in these fair matchups, Force of Will is not a fantastic card. I do like keeping in Force of Will against Rug Delver a lot of times, simply because they can pressure your mana so much.
Oh yeah.
You need manaless ways to fight back from time to time.
Do you think he goes as far as bringing in the 4th force, or do you think maybe he just
keeps low amount of forces?
Keeps in maybe 2 or 3, maybe cuts 1 force for the Abrupt Decay or something?
Yeah, casting a force and then drawing another one is very bad. Yeah. It's not bad if you just draw 2 forces because you pitch one to the other, but drawing 1 force is not typically not bad. Especially when he doesn't have a bunch of cards to bring in. Another card he's going to probably bring in is Life from the Loam.
Okay.
Really helps fight against Wasteland.
Yeah.
Helps develop his mana.
Yeah, as far as basics go, Kyle actually only plays 3, and I think we saw all 3 last game. 1 island, 1 swamp, 1 plains. Those are his basics, and he had all 3 last
Kyle
game.
definitely took care to fetch out the basics against his. And he tried not to expose the 4th land, but he just needed that.
He wanted it for just momentarily so he could play Jace. He did actually expose the Underground Sea.
He did
for 1 turn, and Stephan chose not to deal with it.
Well, yeah, because on Kyle's 4th turn, he went Snapcaster, my Inquisition, and Swords to Plowshares. That requires 4 mana for that sequence of plays.
And then Stephan wanted to deal with the Snapcaster with the Forked Bolt, so he had, at the time, I believe, no lands, played a fetch land, and searched up a Volcanic Island, so he cast Forked Bolt instead of playing Wasteland, dealing with the Underground Sea, and keeping the Jace off the table.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is that Stephan just chose not to play his Wasteland on any turn. He had the Wasteland, just opted not to play it. That ended up costing him, because if he just plays it, his ability to both play and play Forked Bolt and Wasteland in the same turn.
All right, we're underway. Turn 1 Delver from Stephan yet again. And Marsh Flats for Kyle. If you're just joining us, you are just in time to catch Game 2 of Round 4 of the StarCityGames.com Legacy Open live from St. Louis. I'm Joey Pascal. I'm joined in the booth by Adam Snapkeeps Prosac, F&M Hero.
Thanks.
Pushing all the content.
Also the content.
Yeah. Is that your other nickname, Adam the Content Prosac?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one, but we'll go with it. So
basic swamp the play for the land of choice.
And we have a Thoughtseize.
If you get Thoughtseize, I like basic swamp quite a bit. So Stephan did decide to bring in Pyroblasts. They don't do much. Once again, a one-lander from Stephan. Wonder if Kyle's going to go with the Ponder again. Ponder last.
It's weird because he's got the redundant card draw, but he does go with Ponder.
Yeah, Brainstorm is much worse if you do not hit a fetch land.
Yeah, so he leaves him with the
power
Brainstorm.
of Brainstorm has to do with shuffle effects.
So off the top is a Forked Bolt. Delver flips into an Insectile Aberration, and Stephan gets in with it for 3. Now is going to cast Brainstorm on his main phase, looking for that second land drop.
They found a second land. Unfortunately, it's the worst second land. Yeah. It is a volcanic island.
So still no access to green.
No access to green, no access to shuffle effects.
Yeah, and no access to Tarmogoyf. So, puts 2 back, gonna play his second land there and pass back to Kyle.
Yeah,
Kyle has
Stephan also sideboarding in a card that is basically almost a do-nothing. He sided in Sulfur Elemental, likely expecting Lingering Souls.
Yeah, something that isn't always in these Esper lists. As much
Kyle
as
does not have. Yeah,
it's a reasonable assumption because we've seen Lingering Souls versions.
Right. They've definitely Lingering Souls has definitely fallen by the wayside in a lot of these decks.
Yeah.
For cards like Dark Confidant, Deathrite Shaman is a relatively new addition.
So Flooded Strand fetches up a basic island for Kyle. Again, going with the Wasteland-proof basic lands against the Rug Delver opponent. And I believe we've got a Stoneforge Mystic. And
so Swamp and Plains. We play an Orzhov deck.
Yeah. And we know that, and so does Kyle, that Stephan has access to Forked Bolt. But that doesn't keep Kyle from getting the Batterskull here. It's just going to probably keep him from getting it onto the table as easily as he normally would like. Also access to a Lightning Bolt.
I believe I saw a Lightning Bolt as well.
Yeah, he could bolt here if he chooses.
His only other creature is another copy of Stoneforge Mystic. So it's likely that both equipment will be in Kyle's hand fairly soon.
So Stephan's going to take the opportunity to use that 1 open mana he has at the end of Kyle's turn to bolt away the Stoneforge Mystic and untaps with both of his mana available, swings in with the Delver, knocking Kyle to a lowly 10 life. Brainstorm number 2 now from Stephan on his main phase, wants to
find a land. I don't believe he did.
He's looking for green so he can land a Goyf, most likely, but yeah, no lands, no shuffle effects. He's got a Stifle, he's got another Lightning Bolt, he's got a Pyroblast, he's got a Goyf, an uncastable Goyf. He had a Forked Bolt, but it is, I believe, on top of his library now.
Here's Deathrite Shaman. Here's Stoneforge Mystic number 2, I believe.
So nice juicy Forked Bolt targets, but doesn't kill them both.
Just gotta choose one. I believe he has a Lightning Bolt and a Forked Bolt on top of his deck.
we know he has a Lightning Bolt in hand as well.
Lightning Bolt in his hand, Forked Bolt on top of the deck.
Okay, yeah. I thought you thought he had another Lightning Bolt, so just those 2. So Stephan's got some answers. What he doesn't have is mana.
No.
It's a little choked.
Pretty much all. He's actually thinking about the Stoneforge.
Yeah, I was going to say Stoneforge was still in the stack, but now appears to have resolved. He was thinking about stifling the trigger, I think. There, but chose not to. Kyle looks through his deck and appears to have not
he
found.
sided out his GTA or he's just drawn it.
Yeah, one or the other. Kyle probably hoping maybe for Stephan to stifle.
Obviously, if he doesn't have
it
anything left.
Either that or completely forgot that he sided it out. If he sided it out, he may have
Usually if I forget that I've done something, I kind of stare at my deck much longer than...
I don't see a GTA in his hand, so he must have sided it out.
This is an interesting...
So
I'm really surprised Stephan did not Lightning Bolt the
Death Ray Shaman?
Yeah.
I agree. Death Ray Shaman seems like a card that is almost single-handedly caused a decline in people playing Rug Delver just because it's able to keep those Nimble Mongooses and Tarmogoyfs under control. So Death Ray Shaman stays on the table. Stonefort Mystic goes away. Stephen just fearing the Batter Skull apparently, but in the meantime he's
trapped.
Yeah, there's some pressure for Kyle.
Well, that's Pyroblasted.
Yeah, so that's something. But in the meantime, yeah, Stephen's actually been pressuring Kyle this whole game, despite being behind on mana and cards in a lot of ways.
Turn 1 Delver Secrets went a long way.
He's certainly going a long way. At this point, Kyle appears to be dropping to 4 life, and he's 1 burn spell away from being dead on board, and we know Stephen has a Lightning Bolt, so Bolt You attack with Delver will get there if Kyle doesn't find an answer. Jace the Mind Sculptor from Kyle.
Better than all.
Certainly is. At least by some estimation.
What it can do is
Jace
stifle
resolves.
the activation.
Yeah.
Attack with Delver Secrets. Lightning Bolt will finish the job.
Yeah, and that's what it's going to look like. Bolt You, attack you, and go into game 3. So Stephen Hink, no green mana, dead card in hand, still able to provide enough pressure with that Delver of Secrets.
Yeah, not only that, but he had
the right burn spells too.
Yeah, he had a dead Tarmogoyf. He also had a dead Sulfur Elemental because he only had 2 lands.
Oh, good call. Yeah, he did. I think he kept putting that on top because he brainstormed a couple of times. But yeah,
it's still a dead card that he wasn't able to shuffle.
Exactly, it was present in his future. Both players making a few minor sideboard changes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Steven's like, oh man, I drew this terrible card, and I want to get it out of my deck.
Sulfur Elemental.
Yes.
Not doing very much. I mean, then again, maybe he just thinks that he never saw Lingering Souls, but you know, at this point, I guess he still may have better options than banking on Kyle casting a Lingering Souls and him drawing a Sulfur Elemental. It's a card he hasn't seen, so may as well not prepare for it.
Yeah, so his games, it doesn't look like Kyle, at least he didn't draw one, had Force of Will in his deck.
Yeah, I didn't see a Force of Will.
So I think you can handle the mana denial of Rug Delver just by judiciously fetching basics. It can be difficult to develop your mana.
So I'm wondering if he boarded out all his forces. You know, we don't know. We didn't see any, but if he boarded them all out,
we boarded in Geist of Saint Trap.
He boarded in Geist of Saint Trap, so that's an even split.
Boarded in
I
life from the
assume
one.
he would have. Did you see the life? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was in Kyle's hand when he lost.
Okay, I missed that. And we assume he brought in Abrupt Decay and possibly Supreme Verdict.
Mm-hmm. He probably said it was always G2.
Yeah, we didn't see that, and he failed to find it.
He failed to find.
So very likely, I don't think it was a literal fail to find it. You know, it's there and he missed it. It was a fail to find it because it's not there.
Right,
situation.
right.
So
yes, I have enough faith in Kyle as a player that if he was allowed to get an equipment from his deck and he had one, he'd probably get one.
He's trying to next level Stephen. He's like, I'm gonna make it look like I sided out my GTA, and then I'm gonna catch him off guard. So that's so far next level. I think you've come back around.
Yeah.
Not exactly the best plan. There you see Ruben Bressler hanging out by the table matches, or by the camera matches. And if you're just joining us, I am Joey Pasco, joined in the booth by Adam Prosak, and we are coming to you guys live from St. Louis, where we are almost already halfway through the Legacy tournament. We're about to wrap up round 4 in about 25 minutes, and already have one champion this weekend, Casey Hanford, winning the Standard Open with Act 2, going back a few weeks. pulled that one out of the old time machine.
No, I mean not the Wayback Machine.
I was gonna say not the Wayback Machine, the just slightly back machine, like the Yesterday Machine.
I think let's call that the Yesterday Machine.
Yeah, it's just.
But he's relying on relied on old tech. Like this deck didn't suddenly get worse.
Right.
It's just not the shiny new toy anymore. It doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Exactly. Potentially one of the reasons why decks like Bant Control fell off for a while.
Simply because Standard has so many like newfangled toys to play with that you just kind of forget about your old toy.
Yeah.
And it is still an effective deck. Once again, like a little bit of the same thing goes on in Legacy. Rug Delver used to be a monster in Legacy. You still see it from time to time, but not nearly as often as you used to. The huge mana denial elements in Rug Delver are still very, very potent.
And several cards just from recent sets, actually mainly Return to Ravnica, have really affected the viability of Rug Delver in Legacy. Deathrite Shaman, huge. Abrupt Decay also makes a difference, being uncounterable answers to the majority of your threats. And then Rest in Peace seeing a lot of play in Legacy. So all three of those cards, all new cards, all making an impact in Legacy, and all, by the way, help to make Rug Delver just a less appealing option when they're in the room in such numbers.
So a Polluted Delta and a Pass really exposes them to Stifle. Alright, so upkeep.
Yeah, I think I may as well go ahead and search for a land here. And Stephen shaking his head.
Usually it's a basic, but he doesn't have another basic. He might just go for all dual lands. One thing you can do, so if you have, so he's going for the all dual land approach. So he's just making Stephen have a bunch of wastelands.
So he's going to the other extreme, like taxing people's wastelands, where
exactly. So if you have, like, say, an island and a tundra, and they have a wasteland, you don't have white mana. But if you have two tundras, a wasteland still leaves you at a white mana,
right?
In addition to a blue mana, of course.
So a turn 1 Delver of Secrets for the third consecutive game for Stephen Hink passes the turn, and Kyle has a turn 2 Underground Sea into a Deathrite Shaman, and Delver of Secrets not going to flip for Stephen Hink. He draws I believe was it a tropical island or a volcanic island? He's got them bookending his hand.
Yes.
I don't know which one he drew for the turn.
They're both in his hand now.
Yeah.
Looks like
it was a land. It's a non-spell. Didn't flip Delver. That's the relevant part. Looks like he's got a Daze. He's got a Lightning Bolt. I believe he's got a Pyroblast. I believe he also has a Ponder, and there's a middle card in there I'm having trouble seeing, but I think it may have been Tarmogoyf.
I believe it's a green card.
Yeah, could be Sylvan Library. I didn't get a good look. There's that Ponder off of the tropical island.
If I would Spell Pierce this. Spell Pierce is not getting much better.
Kyle agrees. Kyle is Spell Piercing the Ponder. Stephen now with the option to Daze.
Yes. He could Pyroblast, but I think that's a poor use of his mana. I think his mana needs to be spent on Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolting the Deathrite Shaman, fairly important here.
He's going to let the Ponder go away, be countered, and now potential. No, he passes.
Wow.
See, I would think Bolt there and get in there for one. You want to remove the Shaman anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And here you can see Kyle with the Wasteland. He's going to attempt to deal with the Volcanic Island. Stephen's going to add a mana with it, presumably red.
Yeah, I think that's just quite a poor play from Stephen. Now, you just gave Kyle a free activation. It's not the biggest deal in the world.
But it's something you could have avoided. You could have also gotten in for one,
Oh, wow, it is actually a huge deal. Because Kyle is going to use a Deathrite Shaman to play Snapcaster Mage on Spell Pierce. So he's going to play the Daze, so the Deathrite Shaman's going to go away. But he was going to Spell Pierce, so now Stephen, the fact that he passed the turn without spending his Lightning Bolt
Yeah, cost him several cards.
Cost him his days.
So Snapcaster Mage ends up sticking, unable to cast the Spell Pierce because Snapcaster was dazed, Kyle paid, but then had no mana to Spell Pierce. Stephan Hink doesn't flip his Delver, but adds another to the board, passes back.
Another thing here, just compounding, mistakes compounding. Stephan Hink has a Pyroblast in hand. If he doesn't daze last turn, he has enough mana to play Delver Secrets and Pyroblast. Geist Saint Trapped.
Yeah.
Geist Saint Trapped no longer has. Once it's on the stack, you can still counter it.
Right.
On the battlefield, it has hexproof. You can't target it.
A Brainstorm on the top of Stephan's library will flip both Delvers. So we've seen him do a lot of work with Delver of Secrets last game. Now he's got twice as many. A little further behind though this game with that Geist of St. Traft on the table. So he's going to cast Brainstorm here. He's thinking about what he wants to put back. Looks like he has 2 cards in mind.
One of them's a Misty Rainforest. I believe still can't tell. I believe the green card is a Sylvan Library.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's got Pyroblast, Sylvan Library, Wasteland.
I can't imagine a play where anybody would think that Tarmogoyf, Brainstorm is better than Tarmogoyf to play on this turn.
I don't think he has Goyf. He has
right, but yeah, so it makes sense that he doesn't have Goyf.
Yeah, it is library. So both Delver of Secrets, both flipped Delvers, Insectile Aberrations, getting in. So that's 6 damage to Kyle, who untaps his Snapcaster and now has.
Alright, so race is on.
Yeah, he's got at least 6 of his own, if not 8. Very likely 8. And he also just added a Creeping Tar Pit.
Kyle with a little bit of poor sequencing. Playing the land pre-combat gives Stephan information, hey, I got this Creeping Tar Pit coming next turn. So Pyroblast can be saved for the Creeping Tar Pit.
Exactly. So there you see Stephan being knocked to 10. Stephan's going to read Creeping Tar Pit. I think he's reading to see if it's blue.
Yes.
Very likely.
Absolutely.
So he's going to be able to save that Pyroblast, as you mentioned, for that Tar Pit, which is going to be lethal next turn if it lives.
Drew Wasteland.
Oh, that's right. He had the Wasteland as one of his
in that
cards.
case, I would have absolutely
Pyroblast the Snapcaster, you think?
Yeah, I believe so.
Just to save the 2 damage? Well, 4 eventually.
Oh, I guess it won't change the clock. Let's see it. Life total accurate?
If the life total's accurate, he's dead on board, right? That's 11 power if you count the Tar Pit.
Right, but I believe, Stephan can either make a blocker, Pyroblast something. You know, he has
options.
We know
he has
options.
A Wasteland for the Creeping Tar Pit.
He didn't play the Wasteland though.
No, so he decided not to do that.
Austin Hill and Emmanuel Perez.
So Kyle's still at 13. And 2 turns of damage is 12. So Stephan still wants to find 1 extra damage somewhere, or else he's going to lose this race. But the good news for Stephan is that he's literally only 1 point away, and very easy to find.
He's going to brainstorm. He's going to hope to find something. He's not showing us.
So he needs to find a creature. What if foothills?
Did he find 3 lands?
Found a Tarmogoyf. Well, the thing is, he's pretty much locked into A, not fetching, and B, Pyroblasting the Tar Pit. So he can't play the Tarmogoyf this turn.
Yeah, he's already played his land for the turn, so he can't wasteland the Tar Pit.
The only way he could do that, I suppose, Stephan could not attack with one of the Delvers.
Right, hold back a blocker, but that changes the race as well. He's trying to close this
He's trying
game
to
out.
close in 2 turns, but I don't think he has that ability.
He's going to try. He's going to swing in at least this turn with both Delvers. So he's going to knock Kyle down to 7.
That's a way to find damage.
Delver. Yeah, that's that last bit of damage. So now he's got lethal
He's got
lethal worth
play.
of power in play.
Kyle drawing a brainstorm, very huge here.
Finds brainstorm, land, Geist of St. Trap.
No, so nothing's going to help him there. I believe he has a fetch land, but a fetch land will take him to 6. Looks like Stephen Hink's going to close out this game.
Yeah, Kyle not able to block either of the aberrations, and if that Delver flips, that's not a available blocker as well either.
Yeah, so Kyle's basically like, all right, I can't. He brainstormed. He clearly put a spell back. I can't win this game unless Stephen has literally nothing. He has 1 blocker in the Delver of Secrets.
So he goes to 6 here to shuffle. Finds basic planes.
Yeah, so Kyle has 7 unblockable / flying damage between the Tar Pit and the Angel.
Yeah.
And one of his creatures is theoretically going to go through unblocked. So Kyle's just going to try and go for it, but Stephen has a Pyroblast. Will stop the creeping Tar Pit.
And that'll be the match.
That'll be the match.
Yeah, so the Pyroblast hits the Tar Pit. Yeah, he's reading it to make sure it's blue.
It's very blue.
And it's also black. So
Yep.
Terror doesn't hit it.
That's true.
And yeah, that's exactly 8. Steven does not need to block, but he can jump in front of the Snapcaster
Goes to
or
1.
Or the Geist, but he doesn't need to.
Turn.
Does it flip? It doesn't flip, but it's not relevant because there's 7, and there's the match.
Yep.
Stephen Hink seemed like he was behind so often in that match, all 3 games, and somehow was able to pull it out, really on the back of turn 1 Delver of Secrets.
Yes.
In